So this week I'll be making the fresh tomato basil sauce with the roasted almonds and garlic. I couldn't find fresh basil, unfortunately, so I'm just using dried basil. But this week I'll be testing the sauce with vodka and without, and describing what the differences are. I'm pretty excited for this week. I think I'll do okay this time around. I think I've gotten the hang of it. So yeah. Okay, so here are my ingredients for the fresh tomato basil sauce with the roasted almonds and garlic. I couldn't find any basil leaves, fresh basil leaves, so I just have this dried basil, so I'll be adding that towards the end. I also don't know how many of the tomatoes I'll be using because I'm not like a huge fan of tomatoes. Okay, so I'm roasting these almonds at 350 degrees. So it took about 8 to 9 minutes for the almonds to cook. I put butter in them and I put salt in them. The almonds are also used as a thickener for this sauce. So the purpose of pureeing the almonds is to make the sauce thicker and to reduce the water content. Here I chopped my onion, I minced the garlic, and I added all of the spices into one bowl. I also have the bay leaf off to the side, and I will be adding this all together into one large frying pan. So I've been sauteing the onions for a little while, and I've been cooking them with all the spices. And what this does is it boosts the flavor of the onions, and it also makes the onions softer for when we puree them later. Cooking the onion also helps release starch and pectin, which when pureed will help restrict the flow of water, thickening the sauce. So I just added the garlic after cooking the onions for a while. I'll be cooking the garlic briefly, and then I will add the tomatoes very shortly. So I've just added the tomatoes, and tomatoes are an important part of this sauce. The tomatoes have cell wall carbohydrates that have thickening power. This includes cellulose, pectin, and hemicellulose. Now this tomato juice is heated very quickly, which destroys any enzymes that would break down the carbohydrates. As I continue to heat the sauce, thickeners will be released from the tomato's cell walls. So I've been cooking the sauce for a while, and I decided to put the tomatoes in the boiling water to help the skin peel off easier. Here I'm pureeing the tomatoes and the onions with the almonds, and this will significantly reduce the amount of free water in the sauce. After pureeing everything, I have added the sauce back to the large frying pan. In my experiment, I will be adding vodka to one sauce and leaving the other without any vodka. So I'll be dividing the sauce into these two pans. Before I do that, however, I've zested a lemon and I've added it to the entire sauce. So I've divided the sauces up and I've added vodka to the one on the right. And since I divided the sauces into two, I only used half the vodka that the experiment called for, so that's 1.5 tablespoons. I've also got the fettuccine boiling, and it looks to be almost done. So I only added a little bit of tomato because I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes, and I also mixed in some of the dried basil because I did not have any fresh basil leaves. So this one is the one with vodka, and this is the one without vodka. The one with vodka, the flavors are more intense than the one without. So vodka contains ethanol, and from our lecture, we learned that ethanol boosts flavors in purees. So that's why, most likely, the vodka sauce tastes so much better than the normal sauce. So I just finished the sauce, and the one with vodka, which I kind of figured was a lot better. Um, the flavors seemed more intense, it seemed more complete, I guess. The one without vodka seemed kind of like it was missing something. Um, the one with vodka seemed smoother, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it just tasted a lot better, which is kind of what I expected.